Los Angeles Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 6-point favorites. The total is 43.5. This is the Sunday afternoon game. It opened at 5.5. It's bumped up to 6. Executive decision. Eagles.
Let's go.
Uh, like what I don't get is on November 24th, the Eagles were 3-point favorites on the road in LA. So obviously we realize home field means a lot less in the NFL this year. But what bookmakers are basically saying by making this game 6 in Philly after making it 3 in LA is that LA's home field is 0. There is no advantage to playing in LA. There is not even from a crowd perspective, forget it. There's no advantage to practicing all week at home, to being in your bed until Saturday night, to not traveling. Like there's not even a 1-point advantage for the Rams to play in LA. That to me is what bookmakers are saying in this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't overreact to it too much though. It's also it's week to week with bookmakers, right? They're making it the lines for that week. They don't really think about the previous line and where the value was in that for home field. And to me, as someone that had Green Bay power rated just a little higher and a higher grade, yeah, I have this line at 6.5. So it's only a half-point difference than what I had graded on Green Bay. But I also think my model and everything else is kind of underrated in this Eagles team, which we can dive into here, of the sense that, it feels like a lot of pros right now are rating this Rams team. And I think it is because of their model. And, we saw them come in heavy on the 6.5 when it opened on this Rams team. And the bookmakers, like you said, immediately moved to 5.5, took some Eagles money, bumped it up to 6, and now they're moving a couple of books or back up to 6.5. So it could be the sense of the public and the pros early on were thinking, that's great value on the Eagles. And me and you are hoping they're going to get caught here, because I'm with you. I love this Eagles team. I think this is what we love in the playoffs, of team in first round doesn't look that good because of expectations, and people hold that against them the next round. And a team that people didn't think were going to win or be that good gets a little overrated because of what they did in the previous game. And I think we both had the same view of that Vikings game, that yes, that first drive by Stafford, vintage Stafford. I thought they were going to win that 35-10 or something like that. He was just going to,
pretty close.
Yeah, put up a ton of points. But when you go into it, that offense, take away the defensive touchdown, they put up 20 points against that Vikings defense, in which they should have dominated. Like, they had that team on their heels basically the whole game. They had a good field position basically the whole game, because they had sacked Darnold about 9 times in that game and had a bunch of turnovers. So you dive into the numbers. Is Higbee really that important to the Rams? Because those first 2 drives, when he was in there, they looked incredible, moving the ball.
5 targets, 5 catches.
Yeah. And then he leaves, and it kind of falls apart. Puka had 9 targets. He had 5 catches for 40 yards. Cooper Kupp, what has happened to Cooper Kupp? There's tons of jokes going around the internet, but I don't know what the hell is real, what's going on there. But he had 1 catch for 29 yards, Cooper Kupp, in that game. That's bizarre.
It was a great catch, though.
Yeah, it was a great catch. But it's just bizarre where it's like something is off. We talked about going into this. Something's been off about Stafford and this offense for weeks now. And they have, coming in these playoffs, they had moved to a defensive team. So maybe I am underrating their defense too much, but I do think that was just about Sam Darnold. Like, the dude was holding on to the ball for over 4 or 5 seconds in his pocket. Me and you have watched him all season. Hell, I lost so much money on him early in the year. I was obsessed with Sam Darnold watching that offense. And I did move. I turned it around and gave them a ton of credit. But that Sam Darnold we saw these last 2 weeks, that's what I thought the season was going to be with him. Like, this guy who holds onto the ball too long. He's indecisive in the pocket. He is not comfortable in the read and reading the offense. That was not him for this season. He was so comfortable, so confident in a pass-heavy offense. What happened these last 2 games is bizarre, and we talk all the time. That's the mental side of football, right? We see that, especially here with Sam Darnold. And we do want to give credit to the Rams defense. They did play really well. The Eagles are a different beast, and now you have they weren't even home, right? They're in Arizona, so they have to fly home on Monday back to LA. on a short week now, fly out east to come play in Philly in what's going to be a 30 degrees game that starts at 3 p.m. So it's going to end up being a night game at one point. And, that's not the best spot for Stafford in these exact situations. I mean, if you go through even this season, not that they've had an easy schedule, but he never really had to play outdoors in the cold in basically any game this year. And I still think in my mind too, I came to the season thinking I had Stafford from years past. We've just seen it's just different. Like Stafford is not the guy he was of the past. And they are a different offense, and they want to be a run heavy, run first type of team with Williams, which makes sense, right? That's part of their identity. But we've seen these two teams play earlier this year. Eagles, they put up 37. I know if you look back, you see the Rams put up 20. One of that last touchdown they scored in the final minute. It really was 37-12. Like that was not by any metric even that close of a game in any way. So I do think the publics are rating it, and it's just a great matchup once again for this Eagles team. Like if they want to lean on the run here, they can do it. This is a very young, very talented front line of the Rams. Well, they are very young. And we've seen they struggle against really good run-dominant teams this season. So, for me, if this was in LA indoors, I probably would have a different grade on this number. But the fact that we're getting the Eagles at home in this exact spot, I just love the Eagles defense to roll. And shocking, another game, I like the under here. I just can't see the Rams putting up any type of points. And Eagles, to me, will just be run heavy. I know people don't want to hear that. They want to hear Jalen Hurts throwing the ball 25, 30 times, but there's going to be no need for it in this matchup. You just got to lean on your strength here with the run game. And it just feels like another 25-10, 24-10 type of win for this Eagles team. It's just, I just can't see how the Rams put up multiple good drives against this Eagles defense, where the Eagles' strength is that secondary. And that's, to me, that's the strength of this Rams team with Cooper and Puka. And it's just not been that way this later half of the season. So, yeah, I'm with Chad here. I love this Eagles. I honestly would bet it up to 7. So even if you're like, my only book is only showing 6.5, I still would take that number. I still think there's value there. But we just talked about it. If you want to do teasers, there's plenty of good options this week to tease as well.
Rams had one cold game this year. I don't know if you remember it. I do. It was the New York Jets, and I believe we were on the Jets,
and the under. That was a good under game,
and it was the game I think where Jeff Ulbrich consistently went for it on fourth down in a game where it was clear
from his own 30, points, right? I do remember that.
Yeah, yes. Any number. If he had 12 points, he was going to win the game, and of course he went for it on fourth down at every opportunity, including on his own 30, and they end up losing. The numbers the last time the Eagles played the Rams, freakish.
Yeah.
481 total yards, 7 yards per play. The Eagles had 5 sacks. Don't forget, that was the game Saquon ran for 255 yards. I am not going to be fooled by the Rams' dominance against the Vikings when the Eagles are so physically dominant. Their offensive line is not the Vikings' offensive line. Their defensive line, as good as the Vikings' defense is not the Vikings' defensive line. These are physical, aggressive, really powerful line of scrimmage opportunities for the Eagles to dominate.
Yeah, and amazing stat from Evan. Stafford's only outdoor game, 40 degrees or colder since 2021. So 2021, that Jets game. So, he just never plays outdoors in the cold. And Chad just broke that game down. If you go back and watch that Jets game, they won that game 30 different ways. They basically were the offense for the Rams team, basically just giving them short fields time and time again. They're not going to have that same scenario here against this Eagles team who is well coached, doesn't do stupid plays like that. And, as you just broke it down, they have gotten better, this Rams team defensively. But you have to go back and look at the competition they did it against. Now they're going against arguably the best run team in football with the best pass defense in football. And it's just a really perfect matchup for this Eagles team, honestly. Like, I personally, as an Eagles fan, wanted Sam Darnold. But after watching that Rams game, I'm just as happy getting them. They're just, I don't think they're the same team as they were even 2 years ago, right? They're just, I think Stafford's in a much different stage of his career.
A.J. Brown even had 100 yards and a touchdown in that game. It's the last time he was truly inspired.